And the first thing we're going to talk about is really order of operations. And we're going to figure out how to do this type of problem. If we don't have rules to do this type of problem, we're all going to do it different and get different answers. Okay? The rules are painted on the wall over Shane's head, and they look like this. PEMDAS. They're painted a little different on the wall. There's stuff painted on the wall all around you that makes no sense right now, but will make sense as we go through it throughout the year. Does anybody know what P means? Parentheses. Any sort of parentheses. It could be a regular parentheses, but there are other kinds of parentheses as well. It could look like a bracket. That's the same thing as a rounded parentheses. It looks different to separate it from the other one. It could look like a little squiggly. Whatever. E stands for exponents. That's the next thing you do. We're listing the order in which you do things. And this is all review. There's nothing here that should be groundbreaking in any way. Parentheses, exponents. Neither of those appear in the problem that you see on the screen. 3 plus 6 divided by 2. The M and the D, those work together. And that's multiplication and division. You'll notice on the wall that they're painted next to each other to help remind you that they go together. And what I mean by that is you might divide before you multiply. You go left to right on those. They're the same thing, because division really is multiplication of the inverse. So division is just multiplication. All right, so it's one big happy family, one big operation. All right, and then AS is addition and subtraction. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to evaluate an expression given values. M plus parentheses n minus 1 squared if m is 3 and n is negative 4. Okay? This is just order of operations. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to place the values of 3 and negative 4 into the expression. Because the expression looks complicated because it's got letters in it. That's when math started going bad for some of you, when they started throwing letters in. So let's get rid of the letters. Where we see an M, we're going to put a 3. Where we see an N, we're going to put a negative 4. Boom. Just like that. Letters are gone. Very simple. Okay? And this is really what your homework is today, is a bunch of these. Now, we're going to do the order of operations. P, parentheses. The parentheses say inside of it, negative 4 minus 1. So I'm going to do negative 4 minus 1, which I know is negative 5. You lose 4, you lose 1, you've lost 5. Minus 4 minus 1. I'm going to leave it in parentheses just to keep it separate from that square. So I've eliminated my parentheses, the operation within my parentheses. Now I'm going to do exponents. Negative 5 squared. Okay, this is going to expose a massive, massive potential problem for you and your calculator all year. When you take a negative to a power on your calculator, you must put the negative in parentheses. Okay? If you do negative 5 squared on your calculator, if you did it before I just talked about it and got negative 25, you did it wrong. The negative has to go into parentheses before you square it. What I've crossed out up there is wrong. You've typed it in wrong. What I didn't cross out is correct. You're going to make that mistake more. Okay, but the key is to notice it as much as you can and put a negative in parentheses. You only need to do it for even exponents, but just to be safe, you can do it for all exponents and it won't hurt you. Okay, so negative 5 squared is positive 25. Now, technically, you really don't need to put that into a calculator because negative 5 squared is negative 5 times negative 5, and we should all know that that's 25. But I realize that you're going to be putting stuff into your calculator, so negative, I'm just telling you right now, it needs to go in the parentheses to get it right. So, negative 5 squared is 25. And then we're going to do multiplication and division. I don't see any. All we have left is an addition problem. The correct answer is 28. Okay, let's try another one. Same idea, only this time I'm going to put in a decimal. Y is equal to 1.5. X squared minus y times the quantity x plus y if x is 8 and y is 1.5. So the letters are complicated, so we want to eliminate them so it looks less complicated, looks more like a grade school problem when you were all really good at math. So we're going to take out the variables and we're going to put in the numbers. So everywhere we see an x, we're going to put an 8. And everywhere we see a y, we're going to put a 1.5. All right. And now we're going to use the order of operations. P is parentheses. So what are we going to do first? Does anybody know? Noah, what are we going to do first?
8 plus 1.5.
8 plus 1.5, which is in the parentheses. 8 plus 1.5, we should all know in our head, 8 plus $1.50 is $9.50. Okay. Next, we're going to do the exponent, which is 8 to the second power, which is not 16, 64. So we've done the parentheses, we've done the exponents. Now we need to do the multiplication that's in the problem. I see one multiplication, 1.5 times 9.5, and that is 14.25, and then subtraction 49.75. I want you to try one on your own. I want you to see how far you can get on this one on your own, and then we will go through it together. All right, now one thing you have to consider here is that when you have a big fraction like that, really, that means that the top and the bottom are in parentheses. So you have to do the top and the bottom separately. And I think I might have parentheses already on here. Yep. So you have to do those separately. You can't divide the top by c squared and then subtract 5. You have to you have to get an answer for the top, you have to get an answer for the bottom, and then divide them. So when you place your values in and get rid of your variables, it's going to look like that. The top is 2 to the third plus 2 times negative 4 times negative 3. And the bottom is negative 3 squared minus 5. I just wrote it across instead of top and bottom. Exponents. I have 8 for 2 to the third. I have 24 for 2 times negative 4 times negative 3. And I have 32 for 8 plus 24. So for the top of the big fraction, I get 32. And you can see all my steps there. Okay? If you made a mistake, that's okay. I did my exponent, and then I multiplied those 3 numbers together, and then I added them. On the bottom, negative 3 squared is positive 9. And 9 minus 5 is 4. And 32 then divided by 4, 8 is your correct answer. Okay. It's going to take us a while to get back in the swing of things here. I realize that. Try one more, and maybe I'll let you try your homework. See if you can get that one correct. Okay. Oops, I let the video go on too long. All right, so we got this. That turns to this and this. So my correct answer is 24.